So let's keep chucking along with my team by team recaps for this 2013 NFL season. And today we'll talk about a team that maybe right underneath my Bears ranks as the organization that I like to make fun of and rant the most. And that is, of course, those dookie bad Cleveland Browns. Yep, another year of being the Browns, basically. And that's the best way I can really put it. His organization is the drizzling shits. When you talk about poorly run organizations, they rank right up there with the Washington Redskins and maybe one or two other teams as the very, very worst organizations in all of professional football, period. And, here's what I will say is that for the Cleveland Browns fans, I don't have as much sympathy as maybe a lot of people like to have. Remember, at one point in time, Art Modell was wanting a new stadium, and the city didn't give it to him. So he took his team, went to Baltimore, they became the Ravens, and they've won 2 Super Bowls since. So the people of Cleveland could hold at least a little culpability, accountability, and responsibility for what they currently see today. Maybe the Ravens would have never become the Ravens. They could have stayed the Cleveland Browns, and you wouldn't have had to wait another 4 years for a crappy expansion franchise who chose their first coach to be what, Chris Palmer? Oh, exactly. Like I've said before in another video, what perfectly represents the new Cleveland Browns and has since the 1999 season is when you go back and look when they were doing the NFL Films piece about the Browns restarting, and they were talking about very early in the process that they had eliminated Donovan McNabb for consideration, and their choices for the number one overall pick came down to Tim Couch and Achilles Smith. Oopsies and daisies. And that's pretty much what the Cleveland Browns have been ever since 1999. They've brought in all types of different people to run the front office. They've had all types of different head coaches, and nothing's really worked for any extended period of time. By and large, this organization has just been flat out bad. 1 or 2 years in there that weren't all terrible, but mostly you don't really care about those. You don't think about those because they really didn't matter all that much. The Browns have been bad. And 2013 is just another example of why this organization has been bad for so many years. You bring in Rob Chudzinski, an offensive-minded head coach, the offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers. You bring him into the fold, and as I accurately said during the 2013 NFL Draft, you do not bring in an offensive-minded head coach when your offense drastically needs work and draft a pass-rushing 3-4 outside linebacker in the first round. Now, some of you are going to say, oh, Barkevius Mingo is a talent. Oh, boy, all 5 sacks that he had this year were sure damn impressive. Come on, man. It's that type of dumb dick thinking that has the Browns in the position that they are, picking 4th in the 2014 NFL Draft and looking like yet again they need yet another rebuilding project yet again. When you bring in an offensive-minded head coach, you don't draft a defensive player with the 6th overall pick. It's just stupid. You put that offensive-minded head coach in a position of power, appeal to his strengths, which would be the offensive side of the football, and you surround him with all types of talent on the offensive side of the football, not the defensive side of the football. That's dumb shit. And it's no surprise to me, ultimately, that the Cleveland Browns finished 4-12 overall, even after the 3-2 start. After that 3-2 start, once Hoyer went out for the year, they went 1-10. Yikes. They did lose 5 games by 7 points or less. So there were several games that they were in pretty much throughout. They gave the Bears a really good game. They should have really, and for all intents and purposes, beaten the New England Patriots. So, if you maybe win those 2 games, you're talking about 6-10, and things aren't so bad, and maybe Chudzinski still keeps his job. But, I really feel bad for Chudzinski because he inherits Brandon Weeden, and then he's supposed to play him, and Brandon Weeden has apparently proven that he is not an NFL starting quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. But you bring Brian Hoyer in, and Hoyer gets you to a 3-2 mark, and you're starting to look really good and feel really good, and things are feeling very different in Cleveland. And then he tears his ACL during that 5th game of the season against the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night, and then your whole season goes in the crapper from there. Brian Hoyer had something. There was a little special something there. How successful is Chudzinski supposed to be if his best option at quarterback is out for the rest of the season after the 5th game? Not to mention the fact that you took the guy that you had spent the 3rd overall pick on as an organization the year before and traded up, gave up several picks to move up one slot over with the swap with the Vikings to go from 4th to 3rd to take Trent Richardson, to turn around and trade him 2 games into the season to the Indianapolis Colts for a first-round pick in the 2014 draft. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, Trent Richardson's terrible and he's bad. That was such a great move. Really, honestly, does it really fucking matter when it comes to the Cleveland Browns? No, you don't take somebody after 1 year when you spent the 3rd overall pick in the fucking draft on him and then turn around and trade him away for what will be a first-round pick the next year in the mid-20s. Not good business. How is Chudzinski supposed to succeed if his best option at quarterback is injured after the 5th game? His best option at running back is traded away after the 2nd game. How is anybody supposed to succeed in that environment? Really. And even in that case, there were still some success stories for the Cleveland Browns this year. T.J. Ward had a really damn good year. Joe Hayden had a pretty good damn year. Josh Gordon is suspended the first 2 games, plays the last 14, leads the NFL in receiving yards. Jordan Cameron has a breakthrough year, 80 catches, like 917 yards and 7 touchdowns at the tight end position. Heading into 2014, if you're a Browns fan, assuming that they maybe re-sign Alex Mack long term, you feel a lot better about the fact you've got Joe Thomas at left tackle, you've got Mack at the center position, you've got Josh Gordon on the outside, you've got Jordan Cameron at tight end. You have some pieces in place. The cupboard is not entirely bare. But as an organization, ultimately, you're never going to get anywhere if you never keep a consistent direction, if you never have a consistent vision, and you never have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year plan and actually fucking stick to it. It is stupidity of the highest order, especially when talking about the Cleveland Browns history, that after 1 year, it's a head coach that they hired. They have fired him. And now they are searching for the next head coach. You're never getting anywhere. The Cleveland Browns are one of those idiotic examples, like I point to in certain examples with the Chicago Bears. If you don't learn from your history, you are doomed to repeat it. And time after time after time, these shit-stained, poop-stained knuckleheads that you might want to affectionately call the Three Stooges of Haslam, Banner, and Lombardi, and all the people that have come before them, don't have a clue what the fuck they're doing. They keep repeating the same fucking mistakes time after time after time, over and over and over again, all the while trying to insult everybody's intelligence, saying they know what they're doing when they clearly fucking don't, and also all the while sitting there and saying, well, it's change, it's different, we're all about winning and we're doing the right things. No, you're fucking not. No, you're not. I could see if you were firing Rob Chudzinski because you thought you were going to be able to bring in somebody, even like maybe, let's say, a John Gruden, but especially maybe somebody like a Bill Cowher. Somebody with championship pedigree, somebody that knew what the fuck he was doing, somebody that you couldn't turn around and fire after 1 or 2 seasons. But when you hear some of the possibilities for the Cleveland Browns head coaching job, there are wild rumors about Jim Tressel and this guy and that guy and this fucking guy and that fucking guy. But they seem to be having the biggest hard-ons for Josh McDaniels. Yeah, that Josh McDaniels, the big-time failure out there in Denver. How many guys from the Belichick coaching tree have really been big-time successful NFL head coaches? And this whole notion of retreads can't be successful isn't entirely true because there are several retreads in the NFL that have been successful. Look at Bill Belichick. He was with the Cleveland Browns. A few years later, he becomes a Patriots head coach, and the rest is fucking history. He'll be a Hall of Fame head coach someday. Just think about that. Just think about that. But all the while, the Browns will make another dumb dick coaching hire. Unless they surprise you at the 11th hour and they go with somebody like a Bob Stoops, or maybe they did something that was right for business and they promoted their defensive coordinator, Ray Horton, to the head coaching job. They'll bring in somebody like McDaniels, and then after 2 or 3 years, he won't get it. They'll draft poorly, they'll overpay free agents, and they'll suck again. A couple of more 5-10, 5-11, maybe a 6-10, maybe an optimistic 7-9 season mixed in, and then he'll be fired, and then you're starting all fucking over again. This is the same old shit from the Cleveland Browns, and they truly are run by the Three Stooges. I would love to be able to ask Jimmy Haslam, Joe Banner, Michael Lombardi, what the fuck are you doing? What in the fuck are you doing? Because you clearly have no clue. You have a chance to prove everybody wrong, though, because you're going to be in a big position of power in May in the 2014 NFL Draft with your 2 first-round picks and your multiple second-day picks. Come on, let's not be naive about this. Until proven otherwise, let's all assume, and rightfully so, based off of that organization's history and the people that have run that organization over the years' history, all the different faces in the same place results in the same damn result. They'll screw it up, and I'll be talking about the Cleveland Browns more likely than not picking in the top 10 again in the 2014 NFL Draft, period. Excuse me, in the 2015 NFL Draft. They're already back in the top 5 of the 2014 NFL Draft after picking 6th in the 2013 NFL Draft. Good job, Cleveland.